Layers of Fear is short, very short, like 2 hours short. But I think 2 hours is perfect for this type of game. It draws you in, and just as you start to see through Layers of Fear's, well, layers, it's over. I heard about this game for some time and was actually really interested in it, but with a price tag for 20 bucks, and I'm sorry, I just couldn't justify a 2-hour game for $20. I caught it on a sale on Steam for $7, and I was like, hell, $7 seems like a reasonable price for what's supposed to be here. It's also available on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, but what you're watching here is the PC version. It was released February of 2016 and developed and published by Blooper Team, which honestly I had never even heard of before playing this game, but from looking at the resume, this seems like their huge breakout game. So does Layers of Fear really have any fear to it? Well, yeah, sometimes. As the game opens up, you are prompted to finish it. So you take control of an alcoholic painter, and little by little you start to open up what has transpired over time to this point. Horrific events have unfolded, and you need to collect 6 grotesque items to help you finish in your mind your finest painting. Collecting these items, as well as you entering rooms, you will hear flashbacks of conversation in your mind of finer times and others that help show the transformation of you clearly becoming psychologically disturbed. Also, along with picking up and examining notes left around the house and items and personal effects that will help jog a memory cue or another conversation. The story is dark, and I do mean dark. There isn't much I can elaborate on without spoiling the story, but Layers of Fear is very, very story driven. And when the credits finally did roll, I was most definitely enthralled at some points at how just disturbed the painter was and the feelings of everyone around him. However, I still feel there was something missing from the story. Although it was original, I still feel like I've seen this before. It was missing something to give it that feel of when you walk away from it, it just leaves some kind of, well, lasting impression. With so many horror games out today, I definitely think the story held its own, but as good as I felt that it was, it's still somehow forgettable. The narration is half of how the story is conveyed. The voiceovers work, but sometimes it just feels they were very acted, and there are other times I genuinely felt the performance, the voice actors, and the emotions they were trying to project. Some to me just fell flat, and I could sense the emotion they were going for, but it just didn't work. It just felt forced.
The thought alone that the most beautiful piece of art doesn't have my name on it is killing me. So, will you marry me?
It's pretty much hit or miss when it comes to the voice acting. Thankfully, the gameplay and visuals help contribute to the story as well. Images, suggestive pictures, crazy visuals, and clues left around the house help flesh out the painter and his descent into madness, along with everyone around him and how he makes them feel. Notes left from your wife around the house and pictures from your daughter paint a perfect picture of how they felt and what's going on with them, and other than the painter's wife having a few lines of dialogue from flashback conversations, and from the daughter's perspective, even though she never said a word, her visuals and interacting with the painter, I know exactly how she felt in her emotions, and she didn't even need to say anything. The mansion, when you start to explore it, starts pretty mundane and pretty boring. However, this game is supposed to be dark and gloomy. It's still beautiful at the end of the day, and honestly, if you squint your eyes hard enough, it almost is like you're watching a real movie. The lighting effects here really bring this house to life. As you collect your items to finish your masterpiece, you begin to notice something isn't right. You'll enter a room and be forced to go back, and you come back realizing that something is completely different, and you're just in a completely different room, and that's not the way you came in. And I was like, genuinely like, what the hell is going on? It's genuinely creepy at times, and it makes you question where you should go and what's really going on. However, after the 6th and 7th and even 8th time, this game starts to completely rely on it. Well, that and... yeah, jump scares. Don't get me wrong, man. I love me a good jump scare, but Layers of Fear completely depends on them, along with the whole room switching thing. I won't lie though, there were some jump scares that really got me, and I swear I was screaming and cussing at the game just for making me that scared. Like I had to let it know that I was angry at it, that it got me. A lot of visuals are genuinely scary, but at the same time, they still seem so overdone. You know, the whole baby dolls and kid laughter, the room switching thing. The Ghost Woman, I feel, is straight ripped out of PT. Speaking of PT, if Gone Home, if you ever played that, and PT had a baby, it would definitely be named Layers of Fear. From Gone Home, it got the exploration and the story aspects, but not as good. They're okay. And it got the horror elements from PT, and once again, they were good, but just not as great as PT. But if you take those two and you mash them together, you would get a really good scary game and genuinely creepy, but you know, it's just, you know, a couple hours in, it just starts to feel so repetitive. There are a few puzzles, and you know, a couple made me scratch my head for maybe 30 seconds. Other than that, they were pretty easy to figure out. They didn't give me that much of a challenge. I usually had them solved pretty quick. $20 is still the asking price, which I think is crazy overpriced for what's here. I paid $7 and I'm okay with that. Honestly, I think $5 is a fair asking price. For anyone who's looking for the next PT we were so overhyped for, and God, we still wish we could get, this isn't close. It's a nice substitute, but it's just not PT. And if someone decides to pick that up and run with it, we'll just have to wait and deal with Layers of Fear. And it's okay. That's just my opinion. So this is Kamikaze Soundwaves. Hope y'all enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time. Later.